1/5 of the world's oil stopped. Oil prices above $100 a barrel, rising every day. 150 ships anchored outside a strait, waiting, going nowhere, and one question nobody can stop asking. Did Trump know this would happen? The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow water channel 33 miles wide at its thinnest point. It sits between Iran and Oman. Every single day, 20% of all the world's oil passes through it. If it closes, the entire world economy feels it within days. Iran has threatened to close the strait for decades. Every time America and Iran got close to conflict, the threat appeared. The strait is Iran's ultimate weapon, not nuclear, economic. Close the strait. Strangle the world, force everyone to pressure America to stop. For decades, every military planner, every Iran expert, every oil analyst agreed on one thing. If America ever struck Iran hard enough, Iran would close the strait. This was not a theory. This was the most predicted consequence in Middle East strategy. Everybody knew it. Everybody. Then Shaitan published something explosive. Sources inside the Pentagon and National Security Council said something shocking. The Trump administration significantly underestimated Iran's willingness to close the strait. The agency analysis that should have driven the decision was a secondary consideration. Defense Secretary Hegseth fired back immediately. He called the CNN report fundamentally unserious. Of course, we thought of that. For decades, Iran has threatened shipping in the strait. So which is it? Did they plan for it, or did they underestimate it? Both cannot be true. Here's what the sources actually said. Energy and Treasury officials were present at some planning meetings before the strikes, but their analysis, the consequences for global oil, was treated as a secondary concern. The primary focus, destroying Iran's military. The economic consequences, an afterthought. Trump himself had warned about the strait for years. He knew it was Iran's weapon. He called it a choke point. He had even threatened Iran about it before, in 2018, in 2020, in 2025. The question is not whether he knew the threat existed. The question is whether he planned for it. In June 2025, Israel and America struck Iran in the 12-day war. Iran fired back with missiles and drones, but Iran did not close the strait in 2025. American officials took note. They saw Iran hesitate. They may have concluded it would hesitate again, but 2026 was different from 2025 in one enormous way. In 2025, Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei was still alive. In 2026, America and Israel killed him. Killing the Supreme Leader crossed a line. The 2025 strikes did not, and Iran responded accordingly. Within hours of the February 28th strikes, Iran acted. The Revolutionary Guard transmitted warnings via radio to every ship in the strait. No ships would be permitted to pass. Any vessel attempting to cross would be attacked. The threat was immediate. The response was total. The strait went silent. Ship tracking data told the story immediately. Traffic through the strait dropped 70% in the first days. 150 ships anchored outside the waterway, waiting, not moving. Captains understood. Passing through meant risking their ship, their cargo, their crew. On March 1st, the oil tanker Skylight was struck by a projectile north of Kasab, Oman. 2 Indian crew members killed, 3 injured. The rest evacuated. Then another ship struck, then another, then another. By March 12th, Iran had made 21 confirmed attacks on merchant ships. In 12 days, Iran did not need to sink every ship. They only needed to sink enough ships that insurance companies refused to cover the rest. Without insurance, no captain would sail. Without ships, no oil flows. Iran's weapon was not military power. It was economic terror, and it was working perfectly. Oil prices told the story in numbers. In the first days of the war, prices surged 40%. International benchmark, Brent crude, topped $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022. The IRGC had even predicted it. They said oil would reach $200. They were not wrong to try. Here's what most people miss about the strait closure. America is not the most dependent on Gulf oil anymore. China, Japan, South Korea, India, they are the nations most dependent on Hormuz oil. Iran was not just fighting America, it was weaponizing global energy against everyone simultaneously. India declared an energy emergency. 333 million homes in India depend on LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, for cooking. Most of that LPG passes through the Strait of Hormuz. An Iranian decision made in Tehran was putting food on the table or taking it away in Indian homes. The strait carries more than oil. It carries LNG, the primary feedstock for fertilizers used to grow the world's food. More than 40% of global caloric intake depends on nitrogen fertilizers made from this LNG. The United Nations warned millions of people are at risk. Then came the most dangerous escalation. US military intelligence reported Iran had begun planting naval mines in the strait. Trump immediately demanded Iran remove any mines or face consequences never seen before. The US military destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels, but the threat remained, and the ships stayed out. Iran's ambassador stated their position clearly. The strait is not currently closed, but no ships can pass through it. If Trump wants stability and passage, he must withdraw his military forces first. Iran was not asking for a ceasefire, it was demanding complete American withdrawal as its price for opening the world's oil. Trump responded with maximum verbal force. If Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil, they will be hit 20 times harder. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. He also said he was thinking about taking over the Strait of Hormuz entirely, a move that would be legally unprecedented. Trump's idea of taking over the strait hit an immediate legal wall. The strait is not international waters, it is Iranian and Omani sovereign territory. Under international law, America has no jurisdiction over the Strait of Hormuz. Taking it over without consent would be an invasion of Iranian and Omani sovereignty simultaneously. Trump understood he could not do this alone. He called for a coalition, warships from allied nations, to escort oil tankers through the strait. He named China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom as nations he hoped would join. He posted on Truth Social that many countries would be sending warships. The problem, most of them said no. Most NATO members informed America they did not want to get involved. Germany, Italy, and Japan ruled out sending naval vessels. The response from many allies ranged from skepticism to, and this was the actual reported word, hell no. The coalition Trump announced publicly was not the coalition that actually existed. Trump's frustration exploded publicly. He posted, "America spends hundreds of billions protecting these countries, and they do nothing in return. Whether we get support or not, we will remember." The threat was clear. The coalition was not forming the way he needed, and the strait remained closed.